I wasn't supposed to be home that night. That's the part that still messes with my head, because if one meeting hadn't ended early, if one investor hadn't said, "Let's wrap this up now," my life would have kept rolling straight toward a cliff and I wouldn't have seen it coming. I remember opening the front door, quietly, suitcase still in my hand, smiling like an idiot because I thought I was about to surprise my wife. I'd imagined her laugh, that fake gasp of excitement, the way she used to jump into my arms. Instead, the first thing I heard was a man laughing. Not on TV, not outside, upstairs, in my bedroom. And, yeah, my stomach dropped so fast it felt like the floor disappeared under me. I stood there in the dark hallway, not moving, not breathing right. My hand frozen on the handle, like if I let go, everything would become real. I took one step, then another, telling myself I was crazy, that there had to be some explanation. Then I saw the light spilling from the bedroom door, half open, and shadows moving on the wall. When I reached the doorway, my brain finally caught up with my eyes. My wife, Lydia, was in our bed with another man. My bed. Sheets I paid for. Walls I built. My mouth opened, and before a single word came out, someone grabbed me from behind. A hand covered my mouth, small but firm, and a voice whispered right into my ear, shaking but urgent, "Sir, please be quiet." It was the housekeeper. Her name was Nia. Quiet, soft-spoken, the kind of person people barely notice even when she's standing right in front of them. She pulled me back into the hallway before I could react, before rage or shock could explode out of me. Inside the room, Lydia laughed again, careless, comfortable, like she owned the world. I didn't know it then, but that whisper didn't just stop me from yelling. It stopped me from destroying myself. Earlier that day, Lydia had kissed me goodbye at the door, smiling sweet, telling me to take care, telling me she missed me already. What she didn't know was the deal I flew out for wrapped up way faster than anyone expected. Papers signed, hands shaken, done. I stood alone in my hotel room staring at the city, feeling proud, feeling lucky, thinking about how happy she'd be to see me walk back in early. I booked the next flight home without telling anyone. I grew up with nothing, so when I finally built something, I believed in it hard. Money, love, family. I thought if you worked honestly, those things stayed solid. Lydia came into my life calm and charming, always saying the right thing, always listening like I was the only person in the room. She laughed at my jokes, cried when I proposed, or at least I thought she did. Our wedding was big, loud, full of cameras and smiles. I remember thinking, man, I really made it. Nobody tells you that when you build a good life, it attracts people who don't want to build anything themselves. They just want to take. The man in my bed wasn't a stranger. His name was Marcus. Confident, smooth, the kind of guy who never seemed worried about tomorrow because he planned on living off someone else today. Lydia never loved me. She loved what I represented. Before she met me, she was already with him. When she told Marcus she'd met a rich guy who was serious about her, he didn't get angry. He smiled. Told her to marry me, said they'd be patient, said it was just business, and I walked straight into it, smiling, trusting, blind. Nia had noticed things long before I did. Late-night visits, quick whispers, a different smile when I was out of town. She wanted to tell me, but let's be real. Who believes the help over the boss's wife? So she stayed quiet. She watched. She waited. And that night, when everything could have blown up, she acted. She pushed a phone into my shaking hand and whispered, "Record." Inside the bedroom, Lydia and Marcus talked freely, laughing like they'd already won. And then Lydia said something that cut deeper than the cheating ever could. She said, "Soon I'll accuse him. Abuse, threats, I've got pictures ready, half his money will be mine, then we disappear." My hands shook so hard I thought I'd drop the phone, but I didn't. Because in that moment, the pain turned into clarity. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was being hunted. We backed away slowly. Every step through that house felt heavier than the last. Wedding photos stared at me from the walls like a joke I finally understood. I stopped in front of one picture of us smiling, arms wrapped around each other, and I felt stupid for believing it was real. Nia stood there scared I'd fire her, blame her, explode. Instead, I thanked her. "For telling me to be quiet," I said, "because if I hadn't been quiet, I would have been finished." I broke down alone in my office. No guards, no cameras, just me and the truth. I cried like someone who finally understood how badly they'd been played. Then I listened to the recording again. Every word, every laugh. That recording wasn't revenge, it was protection. And protection takes patience. So I played my role. I walked into the bedroom like nothing happened. Lydia rushed into my arms, acting surprised, acting relieved. I hugged her back, smelled another man on her skin, said nothing. For days, I was the perfect husband, smiling, laughing, kissing her forehead. And while she relaxed, thinking she had all the control, I moved quietly. Lawyers, investigators, copies of recordings stored everywhere. Silence became my weapon. Then she made her move. One night, she screamed, accused me in front of the security team. Fake bruises, real tears. Marcus standing nearby pretending to be concerned. I let them call the police. I went quietly, and the moment I was gone, Lydia stopped crying. Nia recorded that too. Her laughter, her confidence, her victory speech. At the press conference days later, cameras everywhere, Lydia dressed in black like a grieving widow. Marcus sitting beside her like a protector, I finally spoke. I brought Nia on stage. People laughed, rolled their eyes, until the recording played. Lydia's voice filled the room clear and cold, explaining exactly how she planned to destroy me. You could hear the air leave the room. Police stepped in. Handcuffs clicked. Lies collapsed in real time. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. A message came in that night. A photo of an old ring that belonged to my mother. A threat. A meeting location. Marcus wanted money. Blackmail. He tried to dig up my past, twist my family history into a weapon. But he forgot something. I grew up being laughed at, underestimated, ignored. Shame doesn't scare me. I walked into that warehouse with police waiting in the shadows. When he confessed thinking he was in control, the lights came on, and that was it. In court, the truth didn't need drama. Evidence spoke. Lydia cried for real this time. Marcus looked small. The judge listened. They were found guilty. When I went home that night, the house felt quiet, not empty, peaceful. Nia stood there nervous, thinking she'd lose her job. Instead, I thanked her. I paid for her education, started a foundation with her, because the person everyone ignored was the one who saved me. Funny how that works. So here's my question to you. If you were standing where I stood, would you have exploded? Or would you have stayed quiet and listened? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Talk about right and wrong, about power, about how often the truth comes from the person nobody's looking at. And if you've ever been underestimated, judged, or played, tell your story. Sometimes silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's how you win.